Well, great. Why don't we shift gears and we'll talk about customer success. So just there's been so much talk. A number of us with an OpFocus went to Forrester Summit a number of weeks back, and first big in-person event in a while. So down in Austin, it was great to see the energy. There was some really nice content around customer success, and that continues to be as strong as ever within the SaaS community. I'm curious, within this process that we've been talking about, is there a role that customer success should play in this process? So Heidi, perhaps we'll aim that one toward you.
Sure. It's a great question. And I honestly believe that customer success is probably one of the most overlooked valuable players. I've been at companies that have even chief customer officers that aren't invited to the board meetings, but the CROs are, because sometimes the CCO reports into the CRO. And I really think it's important to have both seats at the table, just to understand the most about the business as possible with the right people in the room. Revenue, it's not only a sales responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility. And customer success, customers are not only CSM's responsibilities. It's really, really important that we get rid of these old silos where we hand off from marketing to sales, sales to CS. It's a team sport. It's like soccer where you pass the ball in between the different players at different types and different times of the revenue cycle. And we really, really need to be out with that old methodology. Having all those different players involved in the whole journey will make everyone more successful. Most importantly, the customer at the end of the day. And for the metrics, I think that why not ask the CSMs or anyone in customer success, why is our gross retention or gross renewal rates at this number? Why are our net renewal rates, our net retention, any of them? Just trying to dig in and peel back the onion and understanding the 5 whys, because it's very, very easy to produce those numbers. Anyone can do it. Anybody with an accounting degree can do it, but it's getting to the bottom line of why and getting those actionable insights to understand the bigger picture and how we can make our customers more successful. And then if we think about new pricing or new products and all those business changes we spoke about earlier, how do we communicate those to our customers in an effective manner? Just because as a company, we brought on XYZ company or a new product, maybe it only is helpful to a segment of our customers. We don't want to shove this new product down everyone's throat just because we have it. So finding the right fit and the right profiles, your ICP, they need to be understood holistically versus just those high level board numbers as well. And then it's important to elevate that feedback to the board, because you can't look at all of customer success through 4 KPIs. So there's a lot more that goes into it. And I think it's funny every time I throw in some board slides about what our CS team is doing, they're like, oh, that's a really great idea. Thank you for including it. Because typically they just care about 4 metrics.
Lauren, does OpExEngine capture customer success metrics?
We do. It's an interesting area. So we treat customer success like we do any of the operational departments as a separate organization. So it doesn't matter if it's in sales or in a separate customer organization, or I've seen companies where customer success sits in services or other areas, but usually, we have benchmarks for, how much is the expense of the total customer success organization? What's the head count? What are the numbers of, the ratios between customer success reps and customers, and a variety of other metrics that we track. But I think, to the point of all of these discussions, it's really important to make sure that everyone understands the definitions. And then also, one of the questions that we get asked over and over again is how much of customer success belongs in cost of goods and how much belongs in OpEx, because people have different definitions of customer success. I think if you look at the broad span, and Gainsight was so amazing in sort of creating this sector or this solution and this concept. And originally, if I remember correctly, and David, you also have the institutional history of the industry. Not that we're old, we're both incredibly young and getting younger every day. Customer success was more about engagement and keeping, making sure the customers were using your product, that they were engaged, that there was high NPS, that there were high customer satisfaction metrics. And then over time, it sort of evolved oftentimes into more of a renewal retention organization. And so to some extent, from a finance and accounting perspective, it's difficult to, tease out what percentage should go into COGS, what percentage should go into OpEx. And it's really important to make sure that you have the systems in place early on. And again, this is your original question about how does the go-to-market strategy change systems? Well, if your go-to-market strategy changes and customer success is now, they have comp plans that, are tied to closing, renewal or actual contract dollars, then they're definitely much more OpEx than they are cost of goods. And the reason cost of goods is important is that's your gross margin. And so finance people want to make sure that the sort of tagging of these expenses is in there so that when they have to go and do the P&L every month, every quarter, every year, that this is not a manual process, but that they have to be able to calculate, what's the cost of goods. So that all has to be set up from the start. And that's why customer success can be really confusing, because it's not like sales is sales. It's pretty well established. There's different ways that people organize sales, but sales is a section on the P&L. Customer success isn't on the P&L. It's pieces of it sit in different parts of the P&L, and that's what's complicated. Yeah. You probably have dealt with that, Heidi.
Yes.
It's so interesting. And you wonder if it'll continue to evolve, whether it's through more automation or, this definition of what is the essence of customer success. But, well, thank you for talking through those many topics. Really fantastic.